It's lights out and away we go.
Ready, set, go. Just kidding. That's not how it goes.
It's lights out and away we go.
Thank you so much, Dad. Welcome to another episode. This is episode 5. That's as many freaking world championships as Seb has. Oh, welcome to Correction Corner. Sebastian Vettel does not have 5 world championships. And we just let that slide. He has 4. We just gave him an extra one for good measure. We were projecting, maybe?
Yeah, maybe next year. Okay.
Imagine our success.
Yes.
Probably twice as much as Sebastian's. My name is Celeste.
My name's Chris.
And this is UnqualiF1ed.
UnqualiF1ed.
I think your horchata is blocking it. We're gonna have to cut that out because I said that wrong.
Okay.
Welcome to Monza. Just kidding. But I wish I was there. What a race to see.
Yes. And so encouraging to see some young guns on the podium by the end.
Yeah. Monza, okay, I have to be honest, because you know how we love honesty on this show. I would consider this show to be some therapy for me, so it's honest it's valuable for me to be honest with you. I was getting so freaking bored. I was like even beginning to say, "Oh, IndyCar is so much more fun to watch." But no, this race just freaking turned my mind around. What a good race. Stroll on through the action, shall we? Action right from lights out. By the way, I didn't ask you this question ahead of time, but maybe you just know. Why do they use lights instead of flags?
Probably because it's repeatable. It's the same every time.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point.
Because the flag, you're depending on a human. And sometimes humans make little twitchy movements before they throw the flag.
Or they throw the flag a lap early.
Well, and the other thing is, if you think about it, if you're in, say, a Haas, and you're not exactly close to the flag, you might not see the flag at all. And all you're really going to watch is for the car in front of you to move.
I like it. And the reason why, from your point of view as a teacher of the visually impaired, it's so interactive. So fun to look at. The little beeping noises. Multi-level sensory experience. Okay, so the lights go out. What happens? McLaren freaking pulls ahead. That we had a McLaren 2-3 for a minute there. And a McLaren 1-2 later on in the race. That was a little bit of a premonition, shall we say, of how the race should end. But...
Or a retro of the old days.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yes.
Yes.
Senna, Prost.
I don't know. But it wasn't good for everybody, because guess what happened? Charles, Max, Valtteri.
Yeah, well, and I found, doing a little research about it, and it was so, I guess, ironic, because Valtteri, one of the reasons that he could not do well is because the Mercedes is not designed to drive in a bunch of cars traffic.
Yeah.
Because they can't keep the car cool enough.
Because where did Valtteri start from?
He started in the front row.
Oh, he was in P2, huh?
But
that's embarrassing.
He didn't have a good start. So he was stuck behind other cars, which he probably had the power to pass, but his car kept running too hot because
of the dirty air.
And the Mercedes they're designed to be leading. And then when they come around to lap cars, normally they're going so much faster they don't spend much time behind other cars.
Yeah.
So Valtteri was frustrated, I'm sure, wishing that perhaps he was in a much more northern latitude where the air wasn't so bloody hot.
Yeah, like home.
Yeah, maybe.
What is the finish? Never mind, we won't get into that. The drama didn't stop there, because then, almost immediately after, Sebastian had a brake failure. I like to think that Sebastian just wanted to make it snow, because he went straight through those freaking styrofoam things. It was a repeat of Alexander Rossi earlier in the year in IndyCar. Very fun to look at.
Yes, and another one of those situations could have been way worse.
Oh, yeah. All of the crashes in this.
But I do feel like Sebastian had a feeling that something was up. Like, wasn't like It just happened.
I heard
he knew their brakes were not going well.
Well, I think the whole weekend, but then his engineer said something like, "We have a problem right front" or something. I'll put it in so I don't look silly.
The left hand side, rear left.
Oh, and Sebastian Vettel locks up, goes straight through the polystyrene blocks.
Brakes failed. The brakes failed. Brakes failed. No more brake pedal. Brake line exploded.
Okay.
But then here is where this is, in my opinion, you can argue what you want. This moment that I'm about to tell you was the turning point of the race. Kevin Magnussen having a little issue and pulling over right in front of pit lane, or right to the right of pit lane, I guess. Because what did that do, Dad?
It caused a safety car
And a pit lane closure. But did Lewis see the pit lane was closed? No, he didn't. And Giovinazzi did not either. So they went in, they changed tires, and they came out. And what did that result in?
Stop and go.
Stop and go. Okay, you know, I feel like, Lewis, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that I find joy in your failures, okay? It's not like a great quality that I have. However, sometimes it's good to see it. You mix it up a little bit, okay? And Giovinazzi, that's just unluck. But, oh, here's a question I have. Kevin Magnussen's car was in one piece, not smoking, not burning, nothing was on fire, and he just pulled over. Why did they have to have a whole safety car? Why couldn't they have a virtual safety car?
Oh, because his proximity to the pit lane.
Well, and that's the other thing. Why didn't they pull it backwards?
Because there was stuff in the way.
I think they're lazy. Just kidding. I am Italian. I feel like I can't bash these.
No, believe me, I'll bet you Magnussen probably thought that they would be able to pull it back there too.
Yeah, which is why I didn't try and make it.
But I mean, at the very least, he pulled over in a spot where he was semi-protected by the guardrail.
Yeah.
Because the guardrail splits open there, and so he.
Well, nevertheless,
you can't turn back time.
I feel we all owe Kevin Magnussen a big round of applause. Thank you, Kevin Magnussen, for making us have such an exciting race. But we also owe Charles Leclerc a very big round of applause. Only because he's okay, but geez, that was a big crash straight into the barrier.
Yes.
When he was like, ooh, I was scared. But it's just because after watching IndyCar and seeing all of their bad crashes, and then there was another bad crash in Indy Pro, I think, which is in the levels, the road to IndyCar, and I'm just like, it's a little too fresh in my mind, so I was so happy to see him get out of the car. But the damage was so big that it caused a red flag. And I did look it up. The last red flagged race because of track debris was in Azerbaijan. Daniel Ricciardo won that race, 2017. Just because I was asking about that. Were you? No, you weren't. It's just because my brain is on a different level. I'm built different than you, Dad.
I hope so.
Well, that resulted in a red flag. And now there's lots of things you can do on a red flag. Some drivers chose to get out of the car. Lando, for example, sat under an umbrella. Some drivers chose to stay in their cars. Kimi was having a moment about tire blankets. I'll try to put that audio in because it was funny. You didn't hear that?
I didn't get to see that.
Oh, I'll put it in.
Yeah, we will take time.
Blankets on the tires as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
So the plan is we will get at least 10-minute warning before we have the restart. So if you want to stay in the car, stay in the car. If you want to jump out, jump out.
Okay, but where's the blankets?
Yeah.
You allowed to put... Yeah, put it on then. Stop saying that you put it. Let's put them on. Found them, put them on.
Yeah.
But yet sometimes you just have a driver that's such a freaking diva that they have to get out of the car. Okay, well, to be fair to Lewis. Lewis got out of the car, got on his little scooter. How old are you, Lewis? How old? And then rode himself over to the stewards, which, okay, I can see his point. Maybe he just wanted to be sure, argue his point, but you didn't see Giovinazzi doing that.
Well, and it's kind of like, you know, when you're in elementary school and there's an issue and they go up to the yard duty and say, no, it didn't happen. It's their fault. I didn't do that. Like, come on. This is like, recess.
Yeah. Well, no, it really is like recess.
It is.
But it's not the part that bothers me is not the fact that he went to talk to the stewards. It's the fact that he is such a dangerous scooter driver.
Oh.
I have a scooter myself. I'll admit, I have a fun time riding it around sometimes. It's a good way of transportation. I'd like to admit that I'm over 10 years younger than Lewis Hamilton, so I feel like it's a little bit more age appropriate. But not only do I, one, wear a helmet when I'm riding my scooter, but two, I don't run into people. It doesn't matter how much of a hurry you're in. Don't act like a jerk and run into people.
Yeah, and it's not like you ride your scooter in crowded areas. You ride it
Exactly.
occasionally on a bike path or something.
And I will say, Americans, we may not always be the most courteous people, okay? We may not be the most spatially aware. But as an American, there's no need to bring race into this, but as an American, I would never do that. It's just courtesy. Anyways,
Okay.
there are worse things to be mad about, but I was just a little appalled when I saw him, and it wasn't even like just random people. It was like engineers and stuff, guys dragging around tires. It's not that hard. Maybe we should get him some glasses. Let's move on, shall we? Because then, after the red flag, we had another start. You have any thoughts about that start? It was a good one.
It was a clean start. That was important.
Yeah, well, and Lando was talking about how it's like completely different than the beginning of the race because you're on different tires than you've been on.
Yeah, really, it was like another race. It's like some of these races that they have.
Like in F2.
Yeah, I was going to say in various other organizations where they have two races and the starting grid for the second race is determined in some fashion by the finishing of the race before.
Personally, I really like that. I like that system a lot. But before we move on further, there was some drama because Lance Stroll, who ended up getting third position, finishing in third, changed his tires during the red flag. What do you think about that?
Totally legal.
It's legal, but do you think it's okay?
Yeah. Anybody could have changed it. It's not like they just said only some guys.
Yeah.
It's available to everyone.
I just feel like it's like, I don't know. It kind of takes away from the strategy of it all.
But part of the strategy too is that each team only has a certain amount of tires for each driver.
Yeah.
So whether you change them during a red flag or not, you're still, part of your strategy is, hey, we're running out of tires or not.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. People had things to say, but then everybody also said if I was in Lance's place, I would do the same thing. I think that was called working smarter, not harder. Okay, now let's move on, because then from here on out, the race was just made in heaven, crafted by the gods, or God, whoever you believe in. I don't care if you don't believe in anybody at all. Somebody was looking down and they said, hey, we gotta give these guys something to look forward to. And they did, because what did we get? We got Gasly in P1, Carlos in P2. Finally, somebody was listening to us. And Lance Stroll in P3. Which, by the way, this is completely unrelated. We always say the young guns, and we rarely include Lance in that, but Lance is like only the second youngest driver. It's just because he was been in the sport a little longer. I mean, not the sport, but in the series. Sorry, Lance. By the way, one more thing about Lance. Lance donated a bunch of money to the California wildfire, I think the fire station or something, which is just really cool because the kid's not even from California. He's from Canada. Anyway, that's just, I don't know. It's really devastating and it's really sad, so I thought that was...
I mentioned this a little bit, but I just felt like I didn't explain it well enough, or I didn't truly, I know Lance will probably never see this ever, and if you do, what are you doing? But, truly, seriously, it's like, I've grown up with fire season, and I don't think it's ever been this bad as it has been this year, and it's never been, this stressful, where it just feels like every single day you have your backpack, because you never know when you're gonna have to go. And so to have Lance see that and then donate money, I mean, it just means a lot. And, to have a kid from Canada who, doesn't have a huge connection to California, take that seriously when our own presidential administration is basically blaming us, I mean, I don't know, means a lot. So seriously, thank you, Lance, for that.
I might be a Lance Stroll fan now.
Hey.
Hey? Okay, well, speaking of pit stops, this is something that didn't necessarily come into play for this specific race. But I've always wondered. There's a rule where you can't overtake under a yellow flag, yet you can if you pit. So basically we're at technical talk. My question of the week is, can you overtake on a yellow flag if you do it through pit stops?
Oh, yes, you can. Because what could really happen is, let's say 3 cars come into the pits.
I love it when you use props.
And this car was ahead when he went in.
Right?
But his left front tire changer had a problem. So this car passes him because his pit stop was quicker.
Okay.
All right. If these other cars are going around behind the safety car, you're not going to be passing the guys that stayed out.
Yeah.
They're going to have the advantage.
But yeah.
You can pass each other by being in the pits. So you're really not gaining an advantage over the whole field, but unless the whole field comes in or the majority of them come in, which sometimes happens in very many different kinds of racing, the leaders will all come in. The mid-pack stays out. The mid-pack is then left when the green flag flies to deal with all the guys coming up from behind. So, and then there's the strategy too of like how many laps are going to be left for them to finish the race. Like maybe on a track where it's hard to overtake, the guys that pitted might not be able to work their way back to the front.
Yeah.
Or the one that had to take a 10-second stop and go penalty might not be able to work their way all the way back to the front. Just saying. But some of the language that's actually in the FIA rules...
Did they fluff it up?
Well, they tried to cover all the things that could happen. When leaving the pits, a driver may overtake or be overtaken by another car on the track before he reaches the second safety car line. While in the pit entry, pit lane, or pit exit, a driver may overtake another car which is also in one of those 3 areas. So again, if you're maintaining the pit lane speed limit, but you're just barely rolling out of your pits and this guy's already at the pit lane limit, he's going to pass you, hopefully without contact. Oh, and then entering the pits, a driver may pass another car remaining on the track after he has reached the first safety car line. Not much chance of that happening, but I guess could happen.
Yeah. Well, okay. Question answered.
And then, there are some other strange things that could happen, like if you had a puncture on course and your car is just limping back to the pits, then you could be overtaken by the whole field.
Yeah. So I guess you can't, here's the thing. You can't actively say there's a car in front of me and I'm driving. I can't pull in front of that car. That's what I was.
No.
Okay. Well, so that makes sense. Speaking of limping, should we talk about Red Bull? Because Red Bull has been so strong until, Italy was not kind to them. Because here's what happened. Albon had some incident with Grosjean on lap 1, which damaged his floor. Did not retire the car, which is good. But is it? Because then he was just out there with a bad car for the entire race.
That's true, but the thing about Formula One and most racing is you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well...
So, by staying out, he maybe could have finished in the points if there was a bunch of other people had problems or if there was a big wreck, whatever. So, yeah, if your car's running decently, you should probably stay out.
Yeah, it's just, but then Max retired because Max had some issue, which he was acting like a spoiled brat about. Anyways, so I just think, this one's a little complicated. This is my unqualified racing advice of the week. Celeste's unqualified racing advice. And it's a little complicated because I can see both sides of this story. Because Alex maybe isn't so strong in qualifying. That's where he lacks. And as much as he can do during the race, if you don't qualify well, you're really not going to kill it. I mean, like, if you're qualifying in 14th every race, your chances are you're not going to be finishing in first, second, or third. So where does the line go? If I were Red Bull, I'd be pouring equal amounts of effort, love, attention, especially emotional support into Albon as I am into Max. And I've said this multiple times before, but I think this is exactly evidence of why that would make sense. Because Max is your superstar, but then he didn't finish the race, and then you have another car that finishes second to last. So anyways, hey Red Bull, hey Christian, maybe just give Alex some attention. Either that or get Gasly back, because he's shown he knows how to race.
Yeah, I think Gasly's paid his dues at AlphaTauri, and he should be able to reap the rewards.
Well, thank you for bringing us right up into our next segment, because it's time to talk about drama. Big drama this weekend. Well, this week. We're filming this on a Saturday before Mugello, so it's like we've had some time to collect some drama.
Yeah.
Racing Point, which will be no longer Racing Point. Next year it will be Aston Martin. Racing Point said, bye-bye, Sergio, which is so sad, because I really like Sergio Perez. But then they said, hello, Sebastian Vettel. So Seb will be in green next year.
I don't know. I mean, I really respect his accomplishments, but I think he maybe would have been better off going to a racing series with fenders. Or maybe spending more time with the family.
Yeah, I think, here's the thing. In this week, there's been so much evidence of, like, Seb didn't qualify well, so then he got out of the car and watched the rest of the qualifying. Seb didn't finish the race, so then he got out of the car and watched the rest of the race. He loves racing so much, and he really, like, he's a really good guy, okay, and he loves racing. But I think sometimes the universe sends you a message, and you should listen to that message.
Well, he said in an interview, he said that he was sort of on the edge of deciding to retire or not.
Doesn't he have, like, 4 kids now?
I don't know if he has 4, but...
I'm not telling you how to live your life. But, you know, your kids are never going to get this time back. So... But who am I? I'm not a dad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember when I was, like, 2, 3, 4, and you weren't working. That was, like, the best time ever. We did stuff all the time. We got yellow race cars when we're not putting that story in because it's too embarrassing.
Yes. Yellow Hot Wheels as a reward for following directions.
Yeah. Anyways, congratulations to Seb. And Sergio, I hope you find a spot on another team because there are many.
Because he just has to do it.
God, I know. Okay, here's the thing. I just respect Sergio too much for him to go to Haas. I feel like
it could happen.
I'm like, I don't know. So, well, let's talk about what's open, because I wrote this all down. Haas still has 2 unconfirmed seats. Mercedes has 1 spot open, because Lewis is technically, they're still in talks about the contract.
Not an issue.
Yeah, not an issue, but it wouldn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me anymore. If Lewis said, hasta la vista, I'm going to go work on my new racing team, which we'll talk about in a minute because I have some words. Alfa Romeo, 2 open spots. What do you think will happen with Kimi?
I think Kimi's going to retire.
So do I. By the way...
And then he can use blankets back at home.
Yeah.
Or maybe the steering wheel. He could use the steering wheel.
Well, and he just really loves his kids and his wife.
Who'd
have thought?
He'll be go-karting with the kids.
Yeah, because whenever, it's rare that Kimi posts on Instagram, but when he does, it just makes me laugh so much. And it's probably because when I was in 5th grade, when Instagram was like a thing, and everybody was like, oh, I need Instagram. So I've had Instagram since like 5th grade, and so I really feel like I'm deep in that culture. But he just breaks every rule. It's so funny. I'll put some examples.
I was going to say, maybe put some examples in there. So
I know. I'll even show you because I know you're a little uncultured.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a little analysis of what I mean. Okay. Here we go. Simple caption. Was in Belgium. leave nothing to the imagination. Was in Belgium, period. Very good. Okay, wait, there's some more. Silverstone. Oh, geez, Louise. You can't see that. Silverstone, period. Okay. Tell us exactly how it is. Hold on. We raced again. Period. What? Most people are like, oh my god, so fun to be back in Spain. Whatever. No. We raced again. Period. So good. Kimi, thank you so much for just being you. I feel like Kimi is a international treasure, and he may have some shady spots in his past, but come on, you cannot hate the guy.
Anyways, whatever.
Insta-face? What?
God, show your age. Anyways, Kimi will turn out fine no matter what he does. I think Kimi's kind of at peace with whatever direction he goes in. Alex Albon is not confirmed, so there's a spot open in Red Bull. Whether Gasly will take that, I don't know, because AlphaTauri has 2 spots unconfirmed as well. So, I do think that they'll keep Daniel Kvyat. Because Daniel's the torpedo!
So, is that a reason to keep him?
Yeah, to go up against Aston Martin.
Oh, maybe.
Anyways, wait, actually, let's make a connection there. Aston Martin's big in spy movies. Spies use torpedoes. It's poetic justice.
Okay, I think you're reaching a little bit there.
Never! Okay. Well, speaking of Lewis, I think Lewis has announced that he's starting a new electric off-road team in Extreme E. Good for you, Lewis. Good for you. However, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, you have enough money to start your own team in a racing series, but you don't have enough money to donate to make a diversity and inclusion program. It's like, fine, that's your business. Comments at the door.
Don't worry.
That's your own business, but I don't want to see you in headlines being like, Formula One needs to do something. Do something. You have enough money to start your own racing team. Comment, go away. You have enough money to start your own racing team. You can donate at least some money to Formula One to make a diversity and inclusion program.
Or maybe he could develop one of those barges that sucks up plastic garbage floating in the ocean.
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, the whole thought behind Extreme E is to, like, bring awareness to environmental issues, and that's great. The cars are, like, I guess they're electric. They're electric. However, the planes and the boats and the trains and the giant storage containers, those are all taking whale fuel and diesel. You know what I mean? So really, your carbon footprint might be a little smaller, but anytime you're racing and anytime you're transporting equipment...
Okay, but on the other side of that, racing always develops the technology that is found in road cars and transportation in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, by developing more technology to make the racing cars electric powered better, could be crossed over into production cars.
Yeah, maybe they'll make electric trucks. To wrap up our little segment about Lewis.
Yes, let's move on. Why spend too much time on this?
Best of luck. However, and because he has started this new team, I wouldn't be surprised if he gives up his spot at Mercedes.
Could happen.
7 and 8 world titles is a big number.
He may say, I want to race one more year under the newer regulations.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a crystal ball, and neither do you. Because, geez, I would have not chosen to go to college this year. I did. Anyways, let's wrap this thing up. As fellow Americans, we want to say a huge good luck to Logan Sargent, who is tied for championship winner in F3 right now. The race tomorrow morning will decide it all. So good to see an American in Europe race and bring it home for the US of A. I don't have much pride, but this will make me proud. So good luck. I'm putting it out into the universe.
Okay, I think we need to put in a picture of this relative unknown.
You just want to see what he looks like.
I just want to see it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it right here.
Okay.
You know I was gonna do that anyways. Let's wrap this thing up. Mugello.
I think the best thing that happened in qualifying was one of those red cars was within striking distance.
How red is it really?
It is not the new school Ferrari red. It is the old school,
Kind of almost darker
kind
than
of
that.
burgundy, the color they used to paint Ferraris in F1 when F1 was driven by men.
Oh, we forgot to tell. Oh, okay. We do have to talk about this before we wrap this up. Monza marked farewell to Williams. Claire Williams and Frank Williams have stepped down because they were bought by an investment group called Doralton Capital out of New York. But they have announced they're not going to move it to the US. It's going to stay Williams. It's going to stay in the UK. The only thing that's changed is that Claire and Frank have stepped down. I just want to say, first of all, Claire, if you happen to be seeing this, you're so rad. And I'm so glad that I got to, when I was interested in Formula One, you were the leading lady. Because you have done so much for the sport. You have had a good attitude. You have been an amazing leader. It doesn't matter that you may not have had the best luck. You worked with what you had. You gave rookies a chance, and you continue to give rookies a chance. I respect you so much. And I don't know a bunch about Frank, but he's a cool dude too, so.
Well, yeah, if you look back through recent history of Formula One, Williams has always been prominent.
It's sad to see them go, but I think that they made the best decision, and I totally respect how they made their decision, making sure that the team had a future and making sure that they had a financial backing for their future before that they signed off. I don't know. Total respect. I wish I could have met her because she's so rad, but best of luck. Spend time with your family.
Speed costs money, how fast you want to go.
Okay.
Mugello.
Was that pretty good? I was channeling Lisa. What are you excited for?
Well, I would love to see McLaren and or Charles on the podium.
I would too, because they qualified. Charles qualified P5. The McLaren boys not so great, but we'll see what happens.
But I would like to see how they do. The track there, I think it's going to be hard to overtake, but it is going to reward drivers who can manage their tires and manage themselves, because there's some serious G-forces. The track is a bunch of turns with a few straights.
Yeah, and what is it with the gravel traps?
Oh, and they don't allow you to be doing I just kind of went past track limits, but it's no problem.
Yeah, Lando might have an issue.
Well,
he already has.
Yeah, I think Lando might have learned his lesson, but I do think we're going to see some cars getting graveled.
Which is always exciting, you know my rules.
Yes. I do also think that Max will be rewarded, because Max will power through when things are tough.
He always does.
Yes, and I think this is really going to be a demanding race. The other thing I'm curious to see is, will tires be overheating?
Yeah.
Will they be running them at the higher pressures, and will that just take care of it? Or are we going to see tire wear being a big problem?
Yeah, well, you know me, I'm like so not technical. I'm just excited to see another track in Tuscany, Italy.
It's a beautiful place.
Which, by the way, a while ago, I made some comment about, in fact, I might have cut it out because it was not correct. Our family is closer to Monza than Mugello.
Yes.
So, just putting it out there. I don't know, this is not our home race, but I'm excited to see, you know what? I always enjoy when qualifying or whatever, it's like blue, yellow, you know, and it's like stacked by the I just like it because it's aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
So that was cool to see in qualifying. Next week, probably it'll be a week from today, when we film about the Tuscany GP, I think I'm gonna do a whole track breakdown, because this is a track that I've never even heard of. Have you heard of this one? Did they race at it before?
Ferrari owns it.
Oh.
They use it as their private test track, but it's mostly used for motorcycle racing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do a whole
MotoGP.
track profile. And I'm excited to see in the coming weeks how things stack up with the driver market. I think that's all we got for you today. Thank you for tuning in. So sorry, the cat has just been wanting to be a part of this. That's all we've got for you today. Thank you for tuning in after last week's crazy episode. I don't know. We've learned our lesson. I'm not gonna film after philosophy because that was just a mistake that we learned from. But thanks for coming back, and we'll see you next week. Peace out. Oh, I don't like that.
Forza Ferrari.
No.